I've played a lot of games this year, but which ones were the best? Keep in mind that not every game on this list actually came out in 2020, they could just be older games that I played for the first time in 2020. With that out of the way, here is the Toteytop of 2020. Animal Crossing New Horizons would be number 1 in this list if this list were being made in March. I used to play this game nearly every day within the few weeks that it came out. Like, I remember having so much fun with it. It was super relaxing. Before the game came out, there's this huge hype train going like, yes, this is the perfect game to play during the pandemic when we're all supposed to be self-isolating. It's beautiful. And it was. But after a while, I just lost interest. Like, I had no motivation to keep expanding my island, and I started to realize that a lot of what I was doing was just like tedious chores. I understood the appeal of Animal Crossing for a little bit, but after that little bit, I really was just not having a lot of fun. I've heard that the other Animal Crossing games are much better, so maybe I'll try those out since this is the first Animal Crossing game that I've played. But from the bit I played of it, I was having a lot of fun, but since it really just grinded to a halt so fast, it's only number 10 on this list. Okay, let me explain. I used to be a huge fan of Bakugan when I was younger, so when I saw one copy of Bakugan DS in a bargain bin from a GameStop that was closing the next day, you knew I had to pick it up for 15 whole cents. This game honestly just perfectly encapsulates cheesy mid-2000s toys. They're always in that like underground battle arena thing. It just perfectly symbolizes that energy. Even past all the nostalgia I had for it, it still was a pretty decent game. I had a lot of fun playing it. So if you also want to experience that kind of mid-2000s raw energy, I'd highly recommend playing this game. Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics is probably the best game ever made. When it comes to variety, literally nothing beats this game. Most of the time when a game boasts about how many games it has, it's all about quantity over quality, and that's definitely not the case with Clubhouse Games. The best thing about them is that they're really simple to learn, so you could just have someone over and immediately play the game. Like, there's no teaching them anything, you just hand them a Joy-Con and you just have a good time. There's even a demo you could download where not only does it come with 4 of the games for free, it also comes with like a DS download play feature where if someone else has the full game, you can play all of the games with that person locally. It's so cool. Definitely for sure one of the best multiplayer games that I played this year. I'm the type of person that avoids game trailers as much as I possibly can because, I want to see all the cool stuff happen to me in the game and not in some trailer I've seen beforehand. So part of this philosophy is I like to buy games without looking up any reviews or anything about it at all beforehand so I could have the most blind playthrough that I could possibly have. And my favorite example of this happening is with a game called Inmost. If I had to describe Inmost with one word, it would be gripping. The story always leaves you wondering what's gonna happen next. The puzzle platformer elements work really, really well into the story. Even if the controls can take a little getting used to, the environment that you solve the puzzles in is just so cool. If you want a really nice condensed story, because this game only takes like 3 to 5 hours to beat, then I'd highly recommend Inmost. Definitely one of the more underrated games of recent memory. 2020 has been a rough year for Smash Ultimate, to say the least. Byleth and Min Min were relatively disappointing DLC characters, the pandemic pretty much killed competitive, and we had that whole situation early on in the summer. But despite all that, I still played a lot of Smash Brothers. Steve is definitely my favorite DLC character so far, probably because he's the only one where I actually played his game of origin. At the end of the day, Smash Bros. Is still Smash Bros. Even though Nintendo can really treat their franchise and their community much better, Super Smash Bros. Is one of the best multiplayer games that I have played this year. Speaking of multiplayer games, when everybody's stuck inside during the pandemic and a game comes out where the main premise is talking with other people, that game surely is gonna pop off. Among Us is one of those games to just pop out of nowhere. Like, overnight, it seems like everybody in the world is playing it. And in all honesty, it's well deserved. Among Us is a fun game. The only real problem with it is that it got too popular for its own good. Anytime any of these big popular games comes out, all the big YouTubers make their clickbait videos about it, and that leads to some really annoying fans just going, haha, imposter sus, in random places. Just everything about the game starts to get oversaturated, and then people just get sick of it, including myself. If you can contain Among Us to just your circle of friends, then it's amazing, but when you go online to see the community there, it starts to get pretty annoying. Despite all that, Among Us is a great game that really made 2020 better. Super Mario Maker 2 is my comfort game. If I have no idea what I want to play, I could always just turn on Mario Maker and have a good time. But the one thing that really makes Mario Maker special for me this past year is just how well I've improved. I like to play Kaizo levels. Those are just levels where they require certain hard tricks to beat them. And man, I think I did a really good job of improving my skill at these kinds of levels. Like, if you showed this footage to me a year ago, I wouldn't believe that it's me playing it. My goal for 2021 is to beat a level that has 0.09% clear rate or lower. It's gonna be a real challenge, but I think I can do it. Super Mario Maker 2 gave me an outlet to practice a skill that I think is really cool. I played through Luigi's Mansion 3 around the start of this year, and even though it's been so long since I've beat it, I can still clearly remember just how good it is. I've never played a Luigi's Mansion game before this one, but that didn't matter. I love this game anyways. It's just oozing with charm. All the little animated cutscenes are masterfully created. Like, I laughed dozens of times because they're just so good. The puzzle elements can be a bit tricky, but you'll always figure it out eventually. The Guigi mechanic is great. I love that you can even play through the entire game co-op, which is really cool. Every environment that you go through is just inviting you to explore every little nook and cranny because of all the collectibles you can find. This game blew me away about how good it is. If you're interested in playing Luigi's Mansion 3, go for it. You're in for a treat. Both the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra expansions for Pokemon Sword and Shield came out this year. And even though they were decent, the main attraction I had with Pokemon this year was for VGC. VGC stands for Video Game Championships, but it's mainly used to describe the rule set that the official Pokemon Company uses to host their own tournaments. And I had a lot of fun learning VGC this year. I've never even tried competitive Pokemon in the past, but this time I really wanted to go for it. The highlight of me playing VGC this year was seeing Aaron Cybertron Zhang use one of my own teams in his videos. And he's even gone on record to say that it's one of his favorite teams to use this year. And that just blew me away. Like, I'm just some random guy making a team for the first time with a stupid Zoroark. Like, how is this the most fun he's ever had with a Pokemon team? And honestly, just that whole experience of building that team for like 2 or 3 months and then seeing it put to work, it's honestly such a cool and rewarding experience that you can't really get anywhere else. I'm not really a fan of the brand new metagame, and I haven't really been playing it all that much, but that doesn't matter. The time I did spend playing competitive Pokemon this year was just amazing, like absolutely incredible. Hollow Knight is a very special game. You will never play any other video game that has the exact same vibe as Hollow Knight. I bought Hollow Knight over a year ago and I just never got around to finishing it, like I just dropped it one day. But this year I was determined to beat it. I started a new save and played it until I hit the credits. And even though I only got the initial credits, I don't feel like I've even scratched the surface of this game at all. Like, it still feels like there's so much more game behind it. I wasn't really one for the story of Hollow Knight, like, to be honest. I don't know if I'm too stupid, but I just didn't get it. But I think it's amazing that I could just completely disregard one part of Hollow Knight and it's still a masterclass of a game. If you are even interested in Hollow Knight, just do it right now. Buy it. It's such an amazing game. The way you're able to explore this vast world and get stronger as you go through it is just such a rewarding and cool experience. Even though I haven't gotten the true ending or whatever, I do plan on delving back into the world of Hollow Nest and just seeing everything else that this world has to offer. Hollow Knight is definitely my favorite gaming experience of 2020.
Objection!
Oh right, I did play something better than Hollow Knight this year. This past summer, I played the Ace Attorney games for the first time, and let me tell you, now it's definitely one of my favorite series of all time. The stories that these games have to tell are absolutely incredible, and they're backed by some of the most interesting and well thought out characters that I've ever seen in a video game. Investigating the crime scene to gather evidence and then using that evidence to cross-examine a witness in court, all while fitting into an amazingly written narrative, is such a cool gameplay experience that isn't really found in many other games. Ace Attorney is like a visual novel, but it actually has gameplay. Like, who'd have thought that would be possible? But Ace Attorney's biggest strength is definitely the characters. These writers have done an amazing job at bringing these characters to life, putting them in these weird scenarios where the way they interact with each other is hilarious, and the music in these games are perfect. Like, they perfectly fit every situation that they're in, whether you're shouting an objection or the scene just got super tense. The music always elevates the action to a whole nother level. When I think of all the games that I played this year, the Ace Attorney games are always the ones that are immediately pictured in my mind. Ace Attorney has really transformed this year into something special despite the circumstances, and if you have never played an Ace Attorney game, then I highly recommend that you do. Before playing them, Ace Attorney was just this weird series that I didn't know anything about, but I was a bit intrigued by. Like, I listened to the music a couple times and I liked it, so I gave the series a shot. And that shot was definitely worth it. I can confidently say that the Ace Attorney games were the best games that I played this year.